Hi everyone, welcome to part 2 of our planner page. Oh, and happy Tuesday. I have gone over some of the white pen work that I did on the little sections on the skull again before I took my photo for the end of yesterday's video, just to because I'd missed a lot of bits because I was being blinded by the sun. I don't know if you remember, but I've gone over those again. I've also shut the blind so I'm not being blinded, which is always nice. Now we're going to start with some pastel work on our background. I've got my Mungyo soft pastels here and my little sponge. It is clean, it's just stained. I've put some paper under here as well because I don't want it to spread all down the sides of my book. Okay, and I'm going to use this colour here. Can you see it's a sort of minty green, light phthalo green type colour, and I'm going to use this first, and I'm going to take quite a lot onto my sponge, hold this bit, and then just rub it all over the background. Okay, so it's going to take a little while just to rub it all over. Now this is not a technique that I use very often. Usually I will do pencil colouring first and then do a background after, but I'm just going to do this one differently because why not? And it's quite a big, daunting background. I think if we can get some colour down, we'll feel a little bit better about it. It'll feel like some of it's been done. And what I'm going to do with the background is a little bit different. So now be a little bit careful on the edge of the skull here. It's okay when you're near the green, because if you go and put green over green, it's not going to matter. But when you're going near to these pale bits here on the edge, just be a little bit careful because you don't want to get too much green on it if you can help it. There will be some. I mean, maybe you're better than me, but me, I know that I'm going to get some green on there, and that's just the way it is going to be. But I'm going to try hard not to. As hard as I can anyway. So, a little bit in here. Just keep working our way around. Now I know we've got this spider here which I haven't coloured yet. I'm going over him at the minute. I will probably I'll probably just do him black actually, so it doesn't really matter. And there's no way I'm going to be able to go around him with this, so better to do this bit first. You notice I'm holding it on the skull. That's because I'm confident that the pencils won't smudge, and I won't get big fingerprints on the rest of the page, which happens if you put your finger down on pastel. Some people do spread pastel with their fingers. That's how we were always taught to do it at school, but that's way too messy. Have you seen the colour of my cardigan? No. Can you imagine? It would look lovely with green fingerprints all over it. Right, now I've got a basic colour. It's not really even. It looks less even than it is because of my light, but it doesn't matter. I'm going to put some darker green in the corners. Okay, I'm still completely ignoring the leaf pattern at the moment. So I've got this slightly darker green. I'll show you. I think it's the right colour. Actually, it's quite a bit darker, isn't it? So that's okay. I'm going to put it in the corners here. Dark, and then sort of spread it slowly outwards. Okay. Then do the same in this corner. Now it's quite easy to blend pastels, I find. That's not neat at the minute, but it will come. A bit more. This corner. And then this corner. That, and then we're going to go back to the original colour and layer more down. We can try and fade it towards the middle a bit. So we can take this and sort of blend it in. You see, hopefully it's a bit, you have to be quite firm, I think, when you press. So you need to make sure you're holding your book, or else you could end up ripping your paper, which is not good, obviously. But I find if you press a bit harder, you get a nicer blend. Maybe it's the same as pencil, that if I layered up it would work. I'm trying to just get a more intense colour on the edges compared to around our skull. Books moving everywhere. And get a bit more colour up to the skull edge there. And the final corner. And then you can hear everything on my desk jangling as I press hard. Now you can layer this up a bit more if you want, but now around the skull is lighter, as you can see. What I'm going to do is make it even lighter. Now what I really need, I've got this slightly more accurate tool, and I'm going to use it to take some lemony yellow. Okay. I'm going to put it just a bit of lemony yellow around the edge of our skull, so it pops out a bit from the background. It looks maybe like it's glowing. Now you can use a Q-tip cotton bud for this. This one I'm using is a makeup one. It's just the only one I happen to have on my desk. I was actually using it for my pan pastels, but the other end has got pan pastel fine white pearl medium all over it. But never mind. A little bit more just to finish off this top. See how it's mixing with the other colour. This isn't really the best tool for the job, but it's okay. I'm just gonna go around. There we go. It's got a slight glow. It doesn't show it that well on the camera, but I know it's there. Also, that bit there is a little bit pale, so I'm just gonna add a teensy bit of the pastel on it in there. There, I'm happier now. Right, now we have all our leaf detail to think about. What I thought I would do was, rather than colour in every leaf because it's hard, was to use a pen to sort of outline them. Now I'm not particularly good at this, but you know, I'm going to give it a go. I thought metallic might be fun, but in my metallic set I have this sort of purple, but I don't know if it's going to match really, or whether I'd be better off doing, I don't think a green will show up. I'm just going to try out my purple. Yeah, the purple's going to work actually. It looks very similar colour to this. So what would I be better doing? Glitter. No, I think I'll do this. So what I'm going to do is, I've got a piece of paper ready to lean on because I don't want to put my hand down on top of all that pastel, and just trace over the lines. Now you could colour your leaves in, absolutely. You could colour them in black. You could just colour the outlines, not the whole leaf. Now the reason I'm not filling in these lines, because I could potentially fill in these sections, they're quite difficult to outline without filling them in, to be honest, is because some of the leaves aren't drawn like this. and there isn't a filling in section, and I would get confused as to what to do. You'll see what I mean when we move around to another leaf. So there is our first one. Now you might think, ugh, purple and green, no thank you. You could colour over every leaf in black to sort of do a silhouette. That would be another sort of scary-ish way to do it. You could just do them in a darker green shade. If you're using the Arteza, the emerald green would probably be a good match for the green I've used in the background, but it depends what pastels you've used as to what might work. But you can put a bit of your pastel on some scrap paper and then test out your pencils next to it and see which one seems to match the best. Okay. So there are lots of different possibilities. I'm just trying this out to see. I'm hoping it will work. I think this colour is quite a good choice because it will stand out. If I'd done a dark green, I think I might have felt I'd wasted my time. I think it wouldn't have stood out that much more than the black, so I think it wouldn't have looked much different. And also I think doing something a bit different could add to the sort of Halloween feel somehow. See this leaf, how would you do this if you were only blocking in the edges? This leaf, you know, would you block in the whole leaf? It gives you more work when it comes to colouring it in. When I do pen work, I like it to be a little bit more sparse, perhaps because I'm not confident with pens. Right, we've got this big one here. So what have I got to tell you about today? Well, not much has been going on really, because I've been recording a lot of videos, so I haven't got any new news since recording before really. It's been quite nice doing lots of recording. Oh, there's my telephone. I wonder if it's the people saying they're going to come and fit the gas meter. I'm listening. He's not doing any talking. I wonder if that means it's a spam call. I think he would have spoken by now if it was the people saying they were coming. No, he just started talking now. Oh, he's telling them off. They must be spam. I think it might be one of those AI calls where it gives you a gap to talk, but there isn't actually anyone there. It's very odd. Very odd. But no, it wasn't our gas people. That's good. It means I don't have to stop, because I've got very into doing this. I find this quite relaxing. Sometimes I don't like doing this, but today finding it rather nice. There we go. So if I tip it to the camera, you can see there, quite dark, but obviously because it's metallic it catches the light. Now, you don't have to use a metallic pen. You could just use a coloured gel pen or a coloured felt pen, but I don't have any of those. I only have either metallic or glitter pens, so I didn't have much choice, but I think Halloween and metallic works pretty well. So well, I don't know if you agree, but I think why not have a bit of fun with some metallics. Now this does take quite a long time, but definitely less time than actually colouring them in. You might prefer to just colour them in, of course, but I like sometimes to show you something a little bit different. And if we'd done that background without pastel, that would have taken quite some time, wouldn't it? So we've covered a lot of ground very quickly with a very easy, simple method, in my opinion. Now with this, you need to be careful which direction you're moving across your page, because you want to make sure you do the move from your top left to bottom right, unless you're left-handed. You can still do this if you're left-handed. Don't think that you can't because you might smudge it. You just have to move across the page in a different direction. So I'm assuming you would need to start at the bottom right and then move up and across to the top left. So you just basically do it in the opposite direction, and then you won't smudge. So it is very possible to do it. It's I don't know what percentage of people are left-handed. I think I only know one person that is. My husband's brother is left-handed. Actually, one of my mum's brothers was left-handed as well. But not that many people that I know. But I think there might be a genetic element, but I don't really know. I think, yes, one of my mum's sisters was also left-handed. She was so left-handed that she found it very difficult to do anything if she needed two hands to do it, I seem to remember. Or no, I'm wrong thinking, trying to remember. She was ambidextrous, that's right, so she could use both hands. And she found it difficult just to use one or something. I remember when she was trying to learn how to inject her insulin, she found it really difficult to do somehow because of being ambidextrous. I don't really know why. I didn't really understand when it was explained to me why she found it hard, but it was a long time ago. I was only very little. A lot of my mum's siblings had diabetes when I was quite young. Well, first had it, you know. My mum is lucky she hasn't had it that long. She's trying to do her best to keep it under control, really. What I have noticed is if she walks more, that seems to help her. And obviously her weight can help, but you know, and the types of things that she's eating. But it isn't always the answer. So, but she's doing really well in trying hard. It's not easy for anybody, but yeah, she's getting there. The doctor was pleased with her, so that's important. My dad tries to encourage her a lot. They do eat out a lot, which can make it tricky, but it's just not having a pudding can make a big difference. And because they walk to the place they eat, then that gives, and walk straight after the meal, that's really good when you're diabetic, because it means you burn off some of the sugar yourself, so your body doesn't have to deal with it. So exercising straight after, but they don't. My mum sometimes finds she gets heartburn then, but it's just a matter of eating slowly and not too much. She'll often have a kid's meal size, you know, the children's menu. Most places allow adults to eat off the children's menu, some don't. And then she'll sit and have a couple of cups of coffee before she leaves, so that helps. it's good. I think, yeah, it has taken longer. She got it much later in life than a lot of her siblings, and I think that might have been because of the fact that she was the youngest. They could afford different types of food growing up, as rather than her siblings, who you know, they didn't have so much. Also, I've read some very interesting things about how what happens during pregnancy can influence you as you grow up. Being the youngest might have meant it was different. I don't really know, but it's all quite fascinating, I have to say. But it is a bit, you have to be careful, because if you've got kids and you start reading that if you did this, that and the other while pregnant, it could have affected them, you have to be careful not to lay a guilt trip on yourself. So if you don't know, I mean, it's like now when you're pregnant, they tell you, to eat nuts so that your children can build up resilience to it and not have allergies. When I was pregnant, they told you to avoid them at all costs. So the thinking has just completely reversed, and if you're taking on someone else's advice and doing what you think is best, or doing what you can cope with, afford, or whatever, then that's the best you can do. Nobody's perfect. Nobody, however much people online on their social media profiles or whatever pretend or look shiny and happy all the time, it isn't true. Nobody is. I think there is pressure to always feel like you've got to look your best and all that sort of thing, when, you know, most people, you know, you look at celebrities' Instagram, they might be in their pyjamas and look absolutely perfect because they've still got their makeup on or whatever, or, you know, they've got a team to help them look their best, whereas we don't have that. There's nothing wrong with just being normal. I do think, though, I'm very lucky because I live in a town where there's no pressure to look. In fact, you feel out of place if you look too smart, and so it's quite good. You don't have to go out wearing your makeup or anything, or even dressing up. In fact, an old friend of mine, she moved from near Windsor in London to our town, and she said she had to buy a whole new wardrobe of clothes because even her casual clothes were way too smart for wearing out and about in our town. I think I'll go back up to the top. So that was quite interesting that she felt like that, but it does mean it's nice and relaxed. I think part of it is because we have our canal path that a lot of people walk along. If it's muddy, you wear your wellies, and so you might then go into town and you'll still be wearing your wellies. So that's one aspect of it. I'm going to go and do this one. We also have quite a lot of different types of people. We have quite a few hippies who will dress, you know, in their rainbow type clothes or whatever, which I always think is rather fun. I used to wear that sort of clothes when I was a student, and there's that thing going on, and also a lot of people who just have a very individual dress sense, should we say. So that's it's good, really. It means you can just fit in whatever you look like, whatever you like. And because there's quite a few people living like myself who weren't born in the town, I'm sure that happens in every town, but you get quite a mix of different people. Some people who have like their weekend home here and work elsewhere. I mean, we're not with all, you know, commuting to London. I think it's about an hour and a half to London on the train, depending on what train you get, which isn't completely unreasonable as a commute. So that happens. We are also near other biggish places to commute to. We don't have a lot of employment in the town, which is a bit of a problem. I've been looking into it. We have mainly factories, manufacturing, production line type work, or retail, hospitality, that sort of thing. But office work, there isn't so much. It's a bit. There's one company that has its head office, but it's quite a small company relatively, and it's mainly like call centre work, I think, which is much fun. Although I don't know if they're call centres in our town or whether they've outsourced it. A lot of people outsource them to other countries which are a bit, where they don't have such a high minimum wage, or where or people work from home sometimes as well, so they have to pay for a building, which is quite interesting. The company actually bought a big new building just before lockdown, and then they realised that actually they didn't need it for their staff because they could continue working from home. So that was very interesting. So they're trying to convert it into housing, I think. But despite the fact that we need lots of new housing, our council can be quite against turning businesses into housing, because they want to keep employment opportunities alive in the town as well. You can see their point of view, but I think the government are about to bring in a law where that isn't allowed. If you want to turn business into housing, you have to, because we need housing so much. But I'm not sure. I'm sure there were other criteria they could use within planning laws to stop it. There's another industrial building where they've applied to put it into housing. I can understand the problems that have been brought up, like lack of parking, bad access. The access is off a main road, so if people are coming in and out all day long, it could create problems there. And the having space for parking, and the rubbish, rubbish collection, if it's got to be done off the main road, it means that it will disrupt all the traffic on that particular day or each week. So they were interesting points, but I'm sure they would address them. It sounds very can't think of the word, conspiracy theorist maybe, that you see that people have big companies have their planning refused, and then suddenly they make hardly any changes to it and it's accepted, and you find out that they've agreed to give some money towards a certain council project. So effectively bribed them. It happened to my kids when they were at their secondary school. Some industrial buildings were turned into housing near the school, and the company doing it gave money to their school to pay for some sort of building work that they were having done. Obviously the school benefited, and I saw no reason why those buildings shouldn't be turned into houses. There were lots of houses nearby, so it wasn't like it was a purely industrial area. There was a good area for car parking and that sort of thing. It all seemed quite a sensible idea to me, but maybe I'm not aware of the knock-on effects of these things so much. I don't know. Now we're looking at that spider. We're getting close to him, aren't we? I noticed actually, I hope no one has got bad arachnophobia, but our postage stamps, the latest issue that I was looking at, had pictures of different spiders on. It was fascinating. I had a little look through. I was going to show my husband, but then I realised he would be absolutely freaked out by it, as he does have it. But it showed all the different colours and markings. It was really quite fascinating. Some green, orange, different browns. It's like, wow. And here's me. I always colour spiders black. I'm getting very off the lines there here. But this one will be black because of our Halloween theme. It just feels like it should be. And I am going to colour that one in pencil in just a minute. I think I'll do this bit first. And I'll colour it in pencil before we do the pen to the right of it so that I don't smudge the pen. Now these pens can be very, very wet when they're new and almost thick and sticky, so you have to be a little bit careful, but they are lovely and they seem to last a long time, but maybe I just don't use them very much. But they are expensive, but I ought to, wondering whether to grab some cheap ones. I did used to have some Castle Art ones. They're okay. The nibs were a bit thinner than this, which I wasn't so keen on. Obviously thin nibs have pros and cons. I'm not sure what size nib these are actually. It probably says on the packet. It's the packet. No. No, it doesn't say. That's odd. Oh well. Perhaps it says on the pen. No. Oh well. They're certainly thicker than a 0.6 or a 0.5. The Moonlight was at a 0.6. They're quite thin. There could be an 8 or a 10. I'm not really sure which. But they give quite nice coverage. Ooh, my husband's sneezing next door. Quite funny. Right, spider time. I am just going to use the noir and just block it in really. I might try and make that body a bit lighter in the middle, that bit at the end. I can't remember what it's called. They've got different names for different sections of the body, haven't they? One bit's called the thorax, but I think that's that bit. I don't know. Long time since I did that in biology when I was about 12. There we go, there's a spider. He stands out quite a lot, doesn't he? Okay, just a little bit to finish. Now if you're colouring along on the main page, you've probably got quite a few more leaves to do. I would assume that this is cut down, but I suppose it might just be shrunk rather than cropped. Don't know. Oh, now I've got to try and hold the paper down and colour this bit leaning on the ring. I'll get there. Now, if you don't have a pen at all, you could just colour, you could just leave it black, you could just not do this bit at all. You could try going over it with a pencil, but I think that might not show up very well, but you could again experiment on a little bit of scrap paper and see whether it does show up. What other ideas might I have? If you've got like a black biro, you could try that. Different, isn't it? But I don't know if it would look that much different to the black print that's there already. It's creaking now. It always creaks when I colour near the ring. Click, click, creak, creak. There we go. There it is, all finished. I'm just having a look, seeing if I'm happy with it. But yeah, I think I am actually. You could put a few white dots on the spider, but I don't think so. Let's take that away. Messy. There we go. There it is, all done. So thank you for watching and just watching me draw lines. You might want to go back over some of it if you haven't covered the lines exactly. I haven't covered the lines exactly, but I'm not going to go back over it. So that's how it looks like without any light on it. You can see the shine from the light. There we are. So thank you for watching. Enjoy the rest of your day and happy colouring.